Back in the 90s, today's guest made us feel good with his catchy pop tunes and cheeky face. Back to spill the beans on his time on Planet Pop, we welcome Kavana.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, the 90s was a great decade for pop music. You sprung onto the scene when you released your first single called Crazy Chance back in 1996. So we're going to take you back to that time. What was it like?
God, just madness. I mean, I was working at McDonald's. There was a famous music manager in Manchester called Nigel Martin Smith. He basically heard my demo tape, signed me up. I didn't even make 1 star on my badge at McDonald's.
Oh, no.
So I got signed up, and then literally a year later, I was this little pop star. You know, it was absolutely crazy chance. Thought I'd get that in. Yeah, but I was 16, you know, so it was pretty wild.
Yeah. Talking of Nigel Martin Smith, now you had a huge link to the Take That stable because he signed you up, and Crazy Chance was actually written by Howard Donald.
Yeah, Howard
from
wrote
Take
that track. Yeah.
And Lulu also had involvement on your album. Did she write the album?
Yeah, we wrote some songs together because she was managed by him too because of Really Like My Fire and, you know, all that stuff. So it was kind of like this whole little stable of acts that I got suddenly brought into, which was pretty crazy. You know, it was mad.
Yeah, and would you say that was a huge part in breaking you as an act, having Nigel on board and the Take That? And
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'd like to think that I got signed because of some talent, but you know, he was such a huge manager at the time. You know what I mean? When he had Take That, it was like Back for Good era.
Yeah.
So record labels were waiting for his next act, which
so
I
when you
thought.
sprung on the scene.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a boy band. When he sat me down for the meeting, I thought he was going to say, "Do you want to audition to be a boy band?" But he said, "I want to manage you on your own."
Wow.
So I was like, "Okay, let's do it."
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Now, your first 2 singles scratched the top 40.
It did
But it was I Can Make You... it did scratch. But it was I Can Make You Feel Good that gave you your first top 10 single.
Yes.
So was the pressure on to make sure that single was a success, would you say, after the first 2 didn't do as
Of
well?
course. I mean, you know, in those days, you really had to do so much promotion. There wasn't so much internet stuff. There wasn't so much, you know, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. You literally had to just go out there and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And obviously I was on my own, so I'd just be traveling from radio to radio to radio. And I knew that this 3rd single had to happen, or it was, you know,
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
like
the
that.
end.
And I remember we used to call it the midweek chart, when you find out what number. And my mum got the phone call. She's like, "Anthony," because my first name's Anthony. And she's like, "It's so-and-so on the phone from the office. They've got you midweek." And I was like, "Oh, God, this is it."
Oh, no.
And then they went, "Yeah, it's gone in at number 8. You're in the top 10. I was like, "Come on!" Yeah,
Did
that was a relief.
celebrate after that?
Yes,
Yeah.
it got very messy that day, but I did feel good.
Oh, good.
There you go, got that in as
there
well.
we
Did you
go,
like that?
the single.
You like that?
I like that. Now, who came up with the idea for you to cover that track?
It was actually, well, I love soul music, and, you know, I do write all my own stuff. But my A&R lady at the time said, you know, why don't we just do something like a soul classic from the 80s? I think 911 at the time they'd just come out as well. We were both signed to Virgin.
Yeah.
And they'd done Night to Remember by Shalimar.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, look, let's do something that's not so known and kind of remake it. So people still think that when they hear Shalimar, it's me sometimes, because I don't think their version was that well known at the time. So that's how that came about.
Cool. Now, while you were a pop star lapping up the success, you were also playing loads of shows with some of the biggest names in pop at the time. So were you all like a pop family, playing sort of things like Smash It Roadshow, doing radio gigs? Did you feel like a big pop family?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing in those days was the Smash Hits tour, you know, and it was great. Being a kid that bought Smash Hits every 2 weeks, you know, you're on the road with all these other bands, and it was literally like, you know, 911, Five, Billy, who's obviously now an actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was. We literally just went from place to place. It was like a pop school almost, you know. It was great.
Have you got any gossip from those times that you can share with us?
I've got so much gossip, but I can't tell you on screen.
Oh, okay. Anything that's daytime that you can tell us? Did you date? Did you have any dates with any famous pop stars?
Oh, that I can't tell. I'm saving that for the book. Let me think. I remember one particular, it's not really that, I remember one time I got caught having a wee in front of about 2,000 people.
No.
Yeah.
Where?
It was at an outdoor road show, these big radio road shows, and for some reason, this person put the portaloo in front near the stage, and I forgot to close it, and I was stood there having a wee with the door open. And I turned around and they're all going, "Way!" Wasn't my best moment.
It. Yeah, but your fans went wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you do that now? No. Now you even beat Gary Barlow and Peter Andre to the Best Male Award at the Smash Hits poll winners. Big achievement.
That was unbelievable. I remember I was in the studio because, I mean, what would happen is the fans would write in, you know, they'd fill in the form and then they'd send it. And again, I was in the studio and the guy from Smash Hits called me and he said, well, you and Peter Andre are neck to neck. And I was like, really? I said, there's no way I'm going to win it. And then on the Friday, he said, you better get ready for Earl's Court. You've won Best Male Artist. And I got to be Superman.
Wow.
I got to dress as Superman.
That's cool.
Yeah. I watched that probably every single day. Just for my own ego.
We want a copy. Can you send us a copy?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes. So where's that award right now? Is it in your house somewhere?
It's on my mum's mantelpiece.
Really?
Yeah. It's been in about 4 different houses, but it's still there.
Still there, going strong.
Yeah.
You got to be proud of that award, haven't you?
I love that award.
Yeah.
There's been times when I've thought about putting it on eBay when I've had no money.
Oh, no.
But it's still there.
No, you need to keep it.
It's still there. We're keeping that award.
Yeah. Now, following the success of I Can Make You Feel Good, you scored another top 10 hit with the wicked tune called MFEO. At that time, did you feel unbeatable? Because that was doing well. I Can Make You Feel Good done well.
It was, I remember that time I was sat in my friend's, he had this Mini Cooper that he called Annalise.
Like the girl
For Neighbours. Yes! Showing our age.
I loved Annalise.
I liked her. Anyway, so basically I'm sat in Annalise and with my friend Mark, and we're listening to the top 10, and I didn't know the midweek. They wouldn't tell me. And
were you nervous at that point?
Yeah, because it hadn't appeared up to it was like 10, and I'm thinking, maybe you didn't even get in.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it went in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were all very happy that day as well.
And you partied in Annalise, didn't you?
In Annalise, we had a rave in Annalise. Sounds so bad.
Not only were you a singer, but you also co-wrote most of your albums. So was that important for you to actually put pen to paper?
Yeah, well, my first manager, he kind of encouraged me to write because obviously, let's face it, that's where the money is. You know, if you write your own songs. And he knew I was musical, I could play the piano, although I couldn't read music. So basically I had to really work on it. And the more, more you do it, it's like anything, practice makes perfect. And then I got really involved in the writing side of it. So I wrote most of my first album, yeah. And then obviously the second one as well.
That's cool. That's really cool to be involved with that. But let's talk about that second album, because when it came to the release of the second album, it seemed that your star had slightly faded, and the singles from that album didn't really manage to.
Yeah, I mean, like, we kind of went for this more grown-up kind of a sound. Virgin, I'd changed management, and I thought I knew everything, as you do, and, and I was this mature artist now at 21, And we made the album in Italy. Absolute produced it, who'd just done the Spice Girls. They wrote all the big hits, and the first single was called Special Kind of Something, which was one of my favourite tracks, and it seems to be one of the fans' favourite tracks, but it went to like 13, which really in the old days wouldn't have mattered, but things are so instant.
This is the thing, yeah.
Then the second one went a little bit lower, and the third one a little bit lower. But yeah, I was still in the magazines, but really as single sales, it was starting to fade a little bit,
And how did you feel about that? Were you upset, or by that point, did you want to break?
Yeah. I felt like a total failure, man. It was hard because I wasn't in a band. And there was no camaraderie, or there was no, I'm not complaining. I mean, it's like this amazing life, but
the singles were great. This is the thing.
The singles were amazing.
Yeah, the singles were good. They were,
that was a joke, by the way.
No, the singles were good.
They were good. They were good songs. It did well in Asia. It's a cliche, but it did well in Asia. I sold more records in Asia than I did in England.
No.
Yeah, it was crazy out there. I felt like Elvis. I did. I went there about 3 times, actually, on tour. Got mobbed, everything.
I think 911, when I spoke to them recently, they were saying they were big. Obviously, they were big here, but elsewhere, like Asia and stuff,
Yeah.
They said it was mental.
Yeah, but I do look a bit Chinese when I smile. And I think that might have had something to do with it.
Now, your final release was the single Will You Wait For Me. Now, did you part with your record company after that single was released?
Yeah, I mean, it was a funny one because that song did really well in Asia.
Yeah.
And it was #1 actually out there. So the hopes was that it was going to do well here. It was a lovely ballad. It was quite a sad song, you know. And, you know, it got picked up on more kind of Radio 2 style, a more older market. And but no, it didn't do very well. And then there was a bit of a mix-up at the record label. It's a long story, which I can't really go into. But let's just say they let me go with the fee to just say goodbye, kind of thing. Yeah. So I parted company amicably, and
That's good that it didn't end on a bad note.
It didn't end on a bad note. I mean, yeah.
Because it can be pretty tough if you want to do your own thing. You're locked in contracts.
Sure.
But that's good for you.
I was very, very lucky. Yeah, very lucky.
Now, you've not been totally out of the limelight since your pop career ended, though, because we saw you on peak time Saturday Night TV back in 2007 when you finished runner-up on ITV. Grease is the word.
Yeah.
Big show.
Yeah, well...
So how did you get involved with that?
Basically, I'd been in America when it all finished, the pop thing, you know, there was no show like The Jungle or anything like that, or Big Brother, to try and get yourself back out there. There was nothing like that in those days. And I was lucky to have a lot of money, so I basically just wanted to get away, and I went to the States, basically. So I was there for a long time. It's a whole other story. Did a few acting jobs, wrote some songs, worked in a coffee shop.
Wow.
You know, like that. Anyway, so I came back with no money, no nothing, and somebody said, there's a show called Grease is the Word. You look a bit like John Travolta. Why don't you do it? So I did it. And yeah, it was like, it got me a bit of a second wind again. So it was good, yeah.
And what did you do after that show finished? Did you manage to do anything else while here in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, it was a funny show because it was kind of done like X Factor. It was the same company, you know, Psycho, and everyone was a psycho on the show, me included. But, you know, it was votes every single week. But you know how these shows can be. They can be manipulated and stuff and like that. But it was a great experience. It got my kind of mojo back, and, you know, it was great to come runner-up. And then after that, I did, you know, got some gigs. I did a few bits and bobs and stuff. So
it was a good thing to do.
It was a good thing to do, definitely. I was pretty down and out at the time, so it kind of brought me back to, you know.
Cool. And you mentioned going to LA. What was it about LA that made you want to go there instead of anywhere else?
Well, basically, I went there the first time because my record label kind of hinted that I was getting a bit fat when I was doing the pop thing. They basically said, you're a bit of a fatty bum bum. And
harsh.
So I said, OK, and I had a bit of time off. I said, well, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to get the best trainer and I'm going to do all this. So anyway, I went out there. This was years before then. Made loads of friends, got a trainer, got fit. So I knew people and I thought, I'm just going to go to LA and try it out there. You know, there's acting opportunities. There's, you know, a lot of Brits do it and come back with the tail between the legs. It was a good experience for me. You know, I was there for like 6 years. I did a few odd jobs and it was nice to have a break from doing all that pop from such a young age.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Yeah.
And you still go back now, to and fro to LA, or?
No, but I'm still fatty bum bum.
Now, you've spent time treading the boards too in both the Extra Factor Theatre Show and G-Mania, which is like our UK version of Glee. So what were those like to be involved with?
Well, funny enough, they came after Grease is the Word because that was a theatre thing, wasn't it? It led to a theatre show, so that got me in with the theatre agent. So I was going on auditions for theatre work. The Extra Factor was kind of like the X Factor, but a musical. It was with Anthony Costa and one of the Kelly from Eternal.
Oh, cool.
Curly Watts.
Oh, wow.
Kevin Kennedy, sorry, Kevin. I always just know him as Curly. But yeah, so then I started to do a bit of theatre stuff, so that was cool, yeah. And
the G-Mania lot, they were quite a lot of, like, one of the girls from S Club Juniors was in it.
Yeah.
One of the girls from Cleo was in it.
Yeah, I think that kind of didn't go as to plan as it should, but it was a good concept. They got people that had been in different shows, and we did like a British kind of Glee, but I did a tour. It did all right, but yeah.
Cool. Now, the question that everyone wants to know, everyone on Twitter, I'd like to know, are you going to come back and do like a revive your pop career?
Well, funnily enough, I mean, obviously, you know, we've got all the 90s seem to be having a bit of a
It's a revival.
comeback. You know, there's been a few rumours here and there that I might be doing this or doing that, so I'm not sure. I mean, since I've been back, I'm actually doing a play, my first proper play. It's at the Courtyard Theatre in London, and it opens on April the 17th. It's called The Sword and the Dope. I don't play the sword or the dope. And I have to be extremely posh and play a black knight for the round table, yes. So I'm going to be doing that.
Oh, look at that voice.
Yes, and I'm in the studio making some more music. Let's just see where it goes, you know. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling a bit of a 90s reunion thing coming on. It's
Definitely.
good. Yeah.
Have you been watching all the reunion stuff on TV now? Because Five, Bewitched, all of them are back in town. Have you been watching? What do you think?
I think it's a great show.
Yeah.
It's been so nostalgic because obviously I've been watching it and it's just I totally
Brings back memories.
Yeah, and you know, people to see that side of the other side, the dark side.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know who I could reunite with apart from myself, but you know, but yeah, it's interesting to see what people have been through. You know, because all you see is the
glitz and the glamour, but you don't see behind the scenes where people are dropped and people have breakdowns. You don't see it, so it's good.
Yeah, I think it's a great show, and I think it's been really well put together as well, because they could have really made fools of people, but it's come out. I mean, the thing sold out the tour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Time for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Myself and Cav will be chatting more right after this. We're taking things back to the 90s with today's chat. It's the one and only Kavana. Now, if the big reunion guys would be coming knocking on your door and said, Kavana, would you like to do the second series? Would you be up for it?
It would be something I would consider, definitely. I mean, you know, they've got a lot of tales to tell. But like I say, I don't know how I would reunite with myself. But
no,
maybe
you can just be you.
Right.
Sing your old pop classics.
Yeah.
You don't need to be anyone else, isn't it?
Right.
Get a Kavana from the 90s back.
You know what? Let's put it out there. Yeah.
So he's up for it, guys, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Kavana's your man, and he's on Twitter now.
I am. I'm on Twitter. I mean, how long's it been going, this Twitter?
Few years.
Right, I've been on it 2 weeks. And I'm like, what's this hashtag, what? And now I'm addicted.
But it's good because you can speak to fans directly.
Yeah, and it's been brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
That's how we got in touch.
This is it.
This
the
is
world
it.
of Twitter.
Sadly,
and now we're going to be Twitter friends.
There we go. I don't have
Yeah.
Cav's number, so I tweeted the bad boy. And now look what's happened. Well, Cav, sadly, our chat has come to an end. It's been good, hasn't it?
It's been good, yeah.
I've liked reminiscing with you and
I know,
taking
me
things
too.
back.
And yeah, it's been good, yeah.
And Cav, you actually used to come to this place.
Well, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say where.
Yeah, you can say.
Yeah.
So back in the day, you used to come and hang out here.
Yeah, this was a club. I mean, it still is a club. But yeah, I used to have many a night here in the 90s. It's so weird that I've not been here since the 90s, and here we are talking about the 90s. So
hey.
maybe it's a sign.
It's a sign. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.